Hey guys, welcome back to Hustling Horsepower. This week, man, it was a mad thrash after the motor let go. We had a whole lot of work to do to get something together before we could go racing at 10 Gyms of Magnolia. Unfortunately, we lost first round, but hey, we got a hot rod again.
Unfortunately, my half-hour nap turned into about an hour and a half, so I'm gonna have to go and take this thing apart when I get back from my doctor's appointment. So I'll go out there, shoot out there, and then try to get this done and assess the situation and see how bad it is. So guys, I didn't get much sleeping in last night. Woo! I didn't get much napping in last night, but I stopped and napped a couple times on the way home. But made it back just about an hour before my infusion treatments. I was actually, I don't know, I was just a little bit late, like 10 minutes or so. I had to take a shower. It was a long drive. So I'm headed back now, and before I go and take a nap that's longer than like an hour, I'm gonna go pull this motor apart. At least drop the pan, get a good look up in the block, and see what happens. Give me some time to think about it. So I'll probably be leaving for Arkansas to go back working on the 55 later this evening. But I want to just see how bad it is, so I can have start working on a game plan. So here goes nothing. Should be there in a couple minutes. Then pull the Buick out of the trailer and pull the diaper off and get to stripping her apart. So guys, it's Monday morning. I just got back from my doctor's appointment, got my infusion done, and we hurt the motor. Me, myself, and I hurt the motor yesterday at Edgewater. Broke a rod. Chances are a rod bolt failed. So I replaced them maybe 2 years ago, but I didn't think that was going to be an issue. So, hey, maybe she got jealous or something like that because I dropped off some other parts at Jansen. So it is what it is. But I'm going to be putting you guys on a time lapse here because I got to use this phone to upload another video because I got to head back. I don't have to. I'm probably going to head back to Arkansas to go help out the Taylors on that 55 build that they're trying to make it for Saturday. So it is Monday morning. My motor's broke. We're going to try to at least examine it and then get a game plan together after I get a nap. So starting off, draining the oil, pulling the diaper, draining the oil, pulling the pan, and we'll see just how bad it might be. Hopefully I can weld the block back together and put a rod in it, but chances are that's not going to be the case. So, hey, it is what it is. I appreciate y'all for following along. Keep on hustling. Here comes a time lapse for you. Hope you like it. Well, guys, it is 6:30. I wore something a little bit nicer than this to the wedding. Well, I had a nice shirt on underneath it, but it got a little bit chilly out here in New York. Definitely not those 110-degree temperatures that were in the Midwest and stuff like that. But let's get back in camera here. Okay, it is 6:30 in the evening. I've been up entirely way too freaking long. So I'm gonna get myself a little bit of a nap. Then I'm starting up the generator, and we're gonna get this girl torn apart. See what parts we can salvage. Unfortunately, it is Friday evening. Unfortunately, the chance of me getting the parts I need before Monday is slim pickings. But hey, we're gonna get after it. I told my nephew when he gets home he can wake me up and we're gonna go take his little hot rod for a ride. So Bad Donkey's gonna go tear it up a little bit. So I should be able to get at least. They're ordering up food. I left. I said, "You're ordering food? I can get out of here." So I'm gonna go take a nap. They're ordering food, so I should have at least an hour or hour and a half to nap before he comes and wakes me up to go for a ride. So I'm gonna go jump on the couch, take a little nap, then we'll be at it for at least probably 4 hours tonight, tearing this thing apart. Here we are, guys. A couple dollars short and a week late, but I was out busy helping out some friends like usual. You know, I guess it happens, right? So here's the motor. It's pretty well screwed. So you can see the blocks windowed here, and this piston's crooked up in there, and I already started ripping off the alternator and stuff like that. I got busy working. What can I say? It happens sometimes, usually. So I gotta get everything stripped off this motor. I gotta get the crank to rotate so I could get the converter out of this deal. Ideally, I should have had this converter taken apart and sent out when we were back to Hughes. We're dealers for Hughes, so I probably should have sent that out and had them look at it, check everything over after the accident or after the connecting rod let go. But Here's a chunk of the rod right here. That's bad news bears, I can say. So we're gonna go through here, me, myself, and the mouse in my pocket, and we're gonna strip all this apart. Here's some like little fab work I had to do, right, to get fuel pump set up and everything like that. This is an Aeromotive 12-gallon minute pump. It's a little on the small side, but it's what I had. It's what we had in the 30, the exact same pump. Actually, I sent it out, and they went through and redid it for me, rebuilt it, and put it back to new. It's a little ugly looking when it's not all covered in oil from the fire and stuff like that, but it works. We've had no issues with it. So I'm gonna go through. That's the third shock setup. Pretty cool setup right there, but I'm not gonna explain that right now. Right now we're just really getting ready to strip this whole motor apart, pull the crank out, hopefully get the crank to Jansen in the morning. I haven't even given them my heads up yet. And then hopefully order up a couple pistons. I might even have a piston or two on the shelf. And you can see right here, when that rod bolt broke, it spun that bearing. That's what that dark color is right there. That's where the bearing spun on the crank. Now I'm hoping we can turn that 10 to 20 thousandths on the rod journals and then throw it back up in here. Now, yeah, you can see it's all friggin' marred up and stuff like that. But hey, there's a lot of money on the line. So we're gonna throw something together here. I'm gonna probably call up a couple companies, get some parts on the way, order up some stuff. Hopefully that stuff can get here by like Wednesday, and I can get the stuff together. Now today is Sunday, Sunday afternoon. Just got back from Colorado fairly recently. Well, on this style balancer, guys, you gotta attach it to the hub. On a blower setup, you usually don't run this outside part. You could just run the inside hub here. Well, in this case, I didn't have bolts long enough because the threads are screwed up on the shaft right here. But luckily enough, I have two of my starter bolts and I have a spare starter bolt in here, and they were long enough to get past the junked up threads. So now there's a different style puller that you could use on different styles of balancers that would go hook onto the outside of the balancer. You can't use that on this style like a fluid damper or anything like that, like a certified balancer. So you have to pull it off at the hub, and then the little countersunk goes into that whatever it is, the 7/16 5/8 bolt into the crank hub here, and we'll tighten up this bolt here and then start sectioning it off. Belle, what the hell are you doing in here? What are you doing? So I'm gonna go get the big 1/2-inch drive ratchet and start working this guy off, and hopefully we can get this crank out, because right now this crank is jammed up in there like good. Now, number 2 right here is the screwed up piston, and that rod literally cut up into the number 1 cylinder wall, like a couple inches. You're back? You ready to get some work done?
Sure. Why you didn't put the engine in yet?
When are we gonna get the engine in?
Yeah.
Well, we gotta build the engine first. You gonna help me build the engine in a couple days?
Sure.
Okay.
Why are we not doing today?
Because we don't have no parts. It's kind of hard to build a motor with no parts, right?
Is Maggie going to come today?
I think she's actually coming over to help out, yeah.
We're not her going to be here.
She'll be here in a little bit. Maybe she could take you for a ride on the 4-wheeler. I'm putting the car together, okay?
What?
I think she's gonna stop by for a little bit. She could take you for a ride on the 4-wheeler. Or do you want to go by yourself?
Nah.
Mom doesn't want you riding by yourself? Okay. That's probably a good idea anyways. Because you're a bad donkey, right? Tell the people you're a bad donkey. I'm a bad donkey? I know I'm a bad donkey. But you are too. A bad donkey is a good thing, you know that?
Why?
It means you're a bad donkey.
Hey, but I guess what we saw.
What did you see?
2 white-tailed deer the way home from Grammy's.
You saw 2 white-tailed deer?
Yeah.
Did you pretend to shoot them?
No.
Hunting season's coming up, you know. We gonna go hunting together?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Oh, me?
Oh, Mia's here too.
Yeah.
Hey, Mia, you gonna help me?
No.
She's not helping. You gonna take your sister for a ride on the 4-wheeler?
No.
Why not?
Because I got bad.
Don't push her down the stairs. All right. Well, guys, back to work. So I gotta go get the 1/2-inch brake bar, break this loose, pop this off, and then try to get this crank out of here, because this crank is jammed up in there. I can't rotate it at all. Therefore, I can't get the converter off. And if I can't get the converter off, well, it's gonna make this real fun getting this out. Otherwise, I gotta take the converter attached to the crank out, and it's gonna be tight getting it up in here the way I built this car with these things on like this 5-degree layback, and this like K member that I built into the 33. So we'll see how it goes. Well, guys, the heads are off. Let's see here. Heads are off. I got water all over my mom's driveway. Got the heads off. That piston right there, yeah, it's on the wrong angle. You can see the rod broke there. This lifter's broke. That lifter's broke. You can see the cam's in there freaking sideways. That's no good. But I'm getting ready to go put it up back on the surgery table and strip this thing apart. Where'd my lever go? Here we go. Get it back in for surgery. I went the right way. I'll get this up on the lift again. Try to pound that piston up into the cylinder a little bit. Try to free that rod. Rotate the motor. Get the converter pushed back. And then so I can pull this motor apart. Or pull the motor out. So we'll slide the thing back out. And I got a little deal that'll go across the beams here, across the lift. And we'll try to take it out that way. So we'll see what happens. Got back from Colorado Friday morning, like literally 15 minutes before my sister's wedding. And made it there on time. So literally like running through my mom's house, took a shower, ran into the back, tossed down my clothes, and you know I didn't even have no fancy shoes on. I had my regular shoes on because I couldn't find my dress shoes or cowboy boots. So yeah, it is what it is, right? It's just part of this life, I guess. So yeah. Then yesterday, that was Friday. Then Saturday, I went and helped a friend of mine move. So now it's back to doing race car stuff, and now we gotta really put it into high gear here so we could try to get ready for this race at Ted and Jim's in Magnolia, Ohio, Saturday. Small tire race, big money on the line, and I'd be lying if I said we didn't have a hot rod. So a hot rod that doesn't run, by the way. So I gotta get a motor together. I think I have a block out in Cleveland that I made a deal on. Basically, it's the same bore and stuff like that, so should be able to run out there, grab that, throw it together, and get a motor together here. So first is strip this thing apart, get this crank rotating so I could push the converter back into the tranny, separate the tranny, and get all that together. So it's gonna be quick. It's gonna be I'm probably not gonna film all of it because I got a really bust butt here. So here goes nothing. How long is it going to take? I think I gotta cut this in half. I don't know any other way to do it. I think if I cut that in half, I think I twist it around and pop it out. I sure as hell ain't cutting that tool steel friggin' wristband. How's that go? 6 hours later.
Yes, this is 100% real life. I cut my billet steel connecting rod in half to be able to get the motor to rotate.
My shoulders are no good for this.
Am I getting paid?
I'll pay you $10 if you can cut this off. Well, I can't say it's necessarily recommended, but winch the car up into the trailer. Got the ratchet straps through the cylinder boards because, you know, no pistons or nothing like that. Got the crank turned down. Slid it out away from the bell housing. And now, we got something to work with. But, lift only goes up that high, and the motor needs to come up that high because I've never found my my clevises to go in there to make that bar removable. So we might have an issue, but we're gonna figure that out. Figure something out here before too long, I guess. I don't know. Try to make something happen. And some say hot rodding is dead. Well, guys, if you see what I see, I think I found the culprit right there, connecting a rod bolt. I think it just sheared off, either stretched or broke for one reason or another. And yeah, I guess you could say that's a trash motor right there. But I'm gonna have to weld this pan up, bash it around. I'm gonna reuse it, so I'm gonna bash it around, weld it up, and we'll get back after it. Well, I just sat here in the driveway with a piece of wood, a ball peen, and smashed this thing back to somewhat straight. I think I need to head over to my buddy's house where my welder is and stuff like that, and weld this back together and put it together. Now this windage tray right here, it keeps the oil off the crankshaft.
The whole purpose of the windage tray is to keep excess oil out of the cylinder walls. Too much oil in the cylinder walls makes the piston rings unstable. If the piston rings are unstable, well, then you got detonation up in your cylinder walls. So there's a little quick tip for you.
Too much oil up in the cylinder walls screws things up. So we run a windage tray, and it keeps the oil down below, so the crankshaft can't grab too much oil. So I need to weld this up. There's a hole there that I got to weld up. That right there is not a hole, but I'm gonna put a little bit of a weld there just in case. It's a two-piece deal here, so I think I'm gonna go do that. I think I got this pretty much in line. I'll just tweak it a little bit after I weld it, and he's got a block at his house that I can go and mock this up on and make sure all the bolts go in. So when I took this apart and had cut out that bolt, cut out that bolt, cut out that bolt, just grind the heads off of them and pop it out, because this was rod went through there, and the block broke there, and the rod smashed there. So as you can see, here's the 7/16 head for the rod bolt that got smashed into the valley. So not into the valley, into the windage tree. So we're gonna get after it. I smashed this thing over. This thing was a mangled mess. You can see it in the earlier video. I didn't take a video of this stuff because I'm doing it off my cell phone, and I'm a little bit pinched for time trying to get all this stuff together. So it's like 2 days before race day. I don't have a motor together, but worst comes to worst, I can cut these off and put them on the pan over there that I just spent cleaning up and going through. But right now I'm gonna try to reuse this pan because my turbo lines, everything lines up. Oil pump is fine. I went through that last night, 10 and 11 o'clock at night. And then let's see here, I know everything works, so I'm gonna try to put this oil pan, that oil pump on the motor, the intake. I spent some time cleaning that up, so I think we'll be good to go. So find out what happens. I don't know. Well, guys, I just got done welding this thing up, so let's go look at this thing. I welded it up inside, ground it down, welded it up on the outside. This thing was freaking mangled, so it's ugly as hell. Don't worry about it. You ain't gonna see it except for in this video. So there should be enough room in here, and I'll flip this up. Let's see. Clearance in there should be good enough to clearance the rods. This is a short stroke motor, so but it does have aluminum rods in it, so it should be fine. There's these notches in the pan here, 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 and here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then of course 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side to clearance it. But it should be fine. If I gotta clearance it a little more, I can do that back at in the trailer. So it's ugly. It should work. Well, after beating on it, welding on it, grinding it down, beating on it, welding on it, grinding it down, and doing that process a couple times, the pan fits. And fits pretty dang nice. Now this thing was more bloated than like a fat kid on Thanksgiving after apple pie. Yeah, after apple pie. After this thing blew up, this whole side was freaking bowled out to the point where I had to cut all these 3 or 4 of these bolts off to get the pan off, because like that rod let go here, and there was a big hole in here. That's all weld in there basically. And then this was all split in through here, and that's all weld. It's a little discolored and stuff like that right now because grinding from it the inside to get the stroker clearance again. But I think it's ready to go. I think it's ready for a little more of a beating. So I'm gonna take this off, clean up Donnie's garage, and then head back to the trailer and try to get some work done. All right, guys, here's the oil pump. Now, like I said, I don't know if I even mentioned it before, but when the motor lets go, you got to go through an oil pump, all that stuff, lifters, anything that the oil passes through. So right here is the this is the drive stud that there's a oil pump drive stud, wherever it is, that hooks up to the camshaft, and it drives this gear right here. So you got to take this off, make sure there's no you can see there's a couple little nicks in here and stuff like that, but car had plenty good oil pressure at the accident. You can see it's got a little bit of abrasions on here and stuff like that, but nothing crazy. There's not a bushing in here, it's just metal on metal, believe it or not. So the faceplate, got to clean that out, clean all these gears up. Unfortunately, this gear doesn't really pop out all that easily because this is like a press fit in here, and then I weld them, and then the bolt goes in here. So there's a tendency that if you don't weld these things that they can pop out. So this one's got a nice bolt in it to hold the pickup there, but so on and so forth. Cleaned all the metal shavings out of it. Now slide that back in there. Then the gears just mesh in, and then they'll work just like that. It's just like a spur gear pump, kind of like the Aeromotive spur gear pumps and stuff like that. Just a regular oil pump. So the faceplate will go back on, bolt it back together, just flush it through with brake cleaner or whatever. This right here doesn't have to be pre-lubed. Once it goes in the motor, it'll get lubed up. But something like the lifters and the rockers and all that stuff that we cleaned out earlier in the gasoline, I cleaned all those out. Got all my head studs and rockers and all that stuff cleaned out. Now, we only have 6 lifters, but I have a couple spare ones. So, the lifters right here, you can see how freely they smooth, or how freely they turn, but, and then the roller tips on them, they work nice and fine. Like I said, you got to put a little bit of pressure on here and roll them. Make sure there's no burrs or nothing on there. So these are all fine. I went through them all, but you have to pre-lube these. So I'll soak these in oil for at least a little bit. Probably a fairly lightweight oil, so it gets in there a little bit quicker. I usually run the 2050 Hot Shot Secrets. We're dealers for them. We run that oil in the car, and everything works fine. I got the main bearings up on the table over there, but everything looks fine. It simply looks like it was a rod bolt that failed. So top end of the motor, I got to clean up the stud girdle. We run an old school stud girdle because we run stud mount rockers. Ideally, I'd have a shaft mount system on here. It's a lot more stable for higher RPM and so on and so forth, and easier to change things out, but they're just a high dollar unit. So we're budget guys here, so we don't have that. So go through here. These are all cleaned, ran them through gasoline, and you can see, if I could spin it, they spin real easy, almost too easy, right? No, but the bearings are all good in them, and I just got to lube them up with oil. So that's all set up. Intake bolts, put a bunch of holes in there, the back and the front. I know what one's the front, because this right here, these are, that is passenger side front. So those all run through there, just so when it's time to put this motor back together, we could do it in no time fast. Now, charge pipe, yeah, it's all burnt up from the 30 accident. Starter, that's good to go. I'm probably going to pull out the converter and look at it, make sure that's all good. We're dealers for Hughes Performance as well. And believe it or not, there's a dark spot on there because the converter actually came out of the fire. I went through it. I don't even know if I posted that video, but I went through the whole converter, and I'm probably going to take it apart again here shortly after I eat some food, and just go over it, make sure everything's good there. Everything should be fine. So I'm going to assemble this pump right now, and then probably go eat some food and try to edit a video for you guys. So unfortunately, I'm a few videos behind, but hey, it happens. Keep on hustling. So guys, this is a little piece of glass that I carry with me, usually, generally speaking, and it's actually just it's actually a tabletop from like a little counter end table or something like that. But since the motor let go and the camshaft broke in multiple pieces, I'm going through and making sure all my push rods are straight. So you just go on here and just roll them, and you'll see a wobbly one. have a little piece of dirt on there or nothing like that. Definitely wasn't wobbling like a bent one. So push rods are all good. We'll just have to clean them up. I'll go get a couple gallons of gasoline, put it in a I don't know, a tote or something like that, and clean off all the hardware here. But then you gotta go make sure there's no piece of metal or anything like that, because the oil runs up through the lifter, or through the lifter and up into the rocker arm, and oils through here and lubricates the rocker. So you gotta make sure that there's no metal debris inside here. So you gotta go through and blow them all out. But I'll run these all through some gasoline, rinse them off, and then just regular 87 gasoline or whatever. You could use diesel fuel or whatever as well, but gasoline's a little bit cheaper, and I don't know, whatever. So I'm gonna clean off all the rockers, all the valve train components, because we'll be reusing this on this whatever option we take next. So this stuff's all good, all reusable. And there's one rocker stud that pulled out when the camshaft broke. One of these lifters, this was I don't know what one it was, intake or exhaust. I run the same ratio on both of them. I'm not doing anything with altering the cam specs by running a different rod or rocker ratios. Sometimes we'll run a different ratio to target different things, but not in this case. So you gotta make sure all the cups are fine. That's one thing I gotta check. I do have a spare Crower rocker arm here. These are all the stainless Enduro ones, right? Yeah, Enduros. They're all stainless steel bodies with pretty good bearings in them and everything like that. But you can see the rocker stud's still in here. So when the camshaft broke, this lifter, where is it?
Is it on the other side?
No. I don't know where it is. I'll probably put it off to the side. But this lifter, when the camshaft broke, shoved this up, shoved the push rod up through here, and boom, popped it off. And yeah, broke the threads out of the head. So we got to either put a time cert or a Healy coil in that cylinder head. Jansen's working on that now. And so we could have a set of heads to throw on whatever option we go through next. So take this apart, clean all this stuff out. Here it is right here. And busted the rocker off of it, the roller part of it. These are the Hippo high pressure pin oiling stainless steels. It got a little nick here, but as long as the roller's fine. You gotta go through and you gotta roll these, put some pressure on them and roll them, and make sure there's no gritty feeling. And we'll go through and make sure they slide up and down the lifter bores without any resistance. You can use a little bit of emery cloth and clean them up, but unfortunately we're not going to have no valve lifts with this one, so this one's junk. But we have one set of spares. Poor mosquito, got stuck in the oil. I'm going to go through and check all these out, get ready to start assembling this guy. So see what happens here. So next step, run to the gas station, get some gasoline, because I forgot to do that. Cut! That one and that one are my brand new Trick Flow cylinder heads. That one there and that one there are my burnt up heads out of the 30. So I had to transfer everything back over to these ones. These ones, unfortunately, when the rod let go, they got walloped a little bit. Let's see here. You can see the valves. Yeah, they're kind of not supposed to be like that. So they all got tweaked. They got smashed up. So, we had an exhaust leak there. So I transferred all over the guide plates, rocker arm studs, all the valve train. Jansen, Maddie actually ran to Jansen for me 3 times today. Once to pick up the heads, once to drop off the heads, and once to pick them up, because we had to get these heads O-ringed. So these heads now have a O-ring inside the head and a receiver groove in the new block. So we're not going to make it to Cincy Street Nights tonight, or yeah, tonight. It's 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning. because I can't get the damn balancer off the motor. So I gotta have the balancer on it before I toss in the motor. So I'm gonna meet the guys over at Jansen once again, bright and early, when they open up. We're gonna get that after it. So I need to go soak the lifters and stuff like that in some oil, some Hot Shots oil. Get those prepped so we could drop those in tomorrow. So see where it goes. When I say tomorrow, I mean about like 4 hours or 5 hours. We'll see how it goes. Well, guys, I'm just getting ready to leave Jansen Motorsports. These guys are good. Mike and Mike Jr. are out racing NHRA Pro Mod right now up at Norwalk, but Joe and Mike were here, and they helped me out tremendously. Now, I don't even know what time it is. I got here pretty early in the morning, and we spent a long time trying to get this thing together. So, I'm telling you guys, it was a cluster, like a real cluster. Like, it's one of those things that I wouldn't sell, but I'm using it because it's Friday and we're racing tomorrow, and I can't find the parts locally, so you know, we're making it work. Now it's just ugly. It's not bad. It's not gonna cause any damage or nothing like that, and you probably won't even see it. So I'm gonna go get this motor together right now. I've been to Jansen. This is my second time here the last couple days, and Maddie was here 3 times yesterday. No joke, 3 times to pick up the cylinder heads, and then the block had a receiver groove in it. So if it had a receiver groove in it, the O-ring has to be in the head. So she had to drop them off to get the O-rings in the head. And then Joe knocked them out. He got the O-rings in the head. She picked them up to go to throw it in, and I couldn't get the balancers off the friggin' motor. Like, I couldn't get the balancer off my old motor, the hub off of it. I removed the outer piece, couldn't get the inner piece on. So now, after a whole bunch of work and some time on the lathe and stuff like that, I got it good enough to throw on. So I got a stepped keyway from those guys because my crank was a quarter inch keyway and a 3/16 keyway. This other crank is a quarter and a quarter. So yeah, just one thing after another. And it's not a good idea to only run one keyway. If it's cut for 2 keyways, A, oil will come out of it, and B, and it's just gonna be a little bit loose on there. So it should be all right. We're gonna get after it. I'll get home in about 35 minutes, and then it's full bore ahead, trying to get this thing together.
Okay, so I just got back, picked up the cylinder heads from Jansen. These are Nick's. I don't know if he's gonna put this in the video or not. These are the new heads, and they were on the car when the motor got hurt. There's a couple bent valves, so we're going to take the hardware off of these, and we're gonna throw them on the cylinder heads that were on the 30 when he had the fire.
Well, guys, you know how this stuff works. If one thing does work, the next thing doesn't work. So I got the hub on, but you know what this is right here? That's my timing pointer. It's designed for a crank hub or a hub setup for a blower. Well, we don't run a blower. We run an actual balancer on the front of the motor. So I made a Sharpie line. I gotta grind this down to clearance it for an 8-inch balancer because a fluid damper, yeah, it's a little bit larger than the other hub. Now, they made the thing with a couple slots, but they missed it by about, a little over 1/16 of an inch, almost an 1/8 inch. So, gotta sand this down, file it down, and it won't be effective because you look at it from the top side, but I gotta clearance this to fit the balancer. Always something.
What you doing?
Something I would not recommend.
Cool.
Well, you see, this block is apparently like one of the earlier generation Dart Big M blocks. So, the rear main caps aren't clearance for the style of oil pan that I run. So, our oil pan didn't hit. So we got the gasket up in there and everything up in there, and it didn't clear. And we were about a half bolt off. I was like, well, I looked at the rear main. Well, that looks weird. It's squared off. So I looked at my block over there. That's getting, you know, getting sunshine and stuff like that.
Oh wait, where is it? Oh.
Right there.
I thought it was on the engine hoist.
No.
I zoomed into
It
nothing.
doesn't deserve to be on engine.
Only the finest of tools, people.
Well, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been a long day, and I hate to do it, but I gotta do it. I gotta cut this thing off. So let me put this up here. That's not where you put that stuff. But so this right here is for a fuel pump drive, or a fuel pump drive usually. Okay. Well, this snout gets in the way of my trigger. Now, off the balancer down here, I have this 8.5 inch trigger wheel that reads off my crank sensor down here. Okay, it don't fit with that there. Now the bearing is recessed far enough in there that I'm gonna try cutting it off. And I hate to do that because it's freaking expensive. But we're supposed to be racing in 12 hours or something like that, and I got work to do. And I just put in way too much work not to go racing. So, it's getting cut up. It's an expensive piece. It's not going to be worth much anymore. But we're going racing. Here goes nothing.
Wipe that shit-eating grin off your face.
Well, guys, sometimes I don't know if I'm a bad donkey or a dumb donkey, but we just cut up probably a $500 piece right there. But I just peened over these edges so this bearing doesn't come out. This bearing just holds the cam and the cam drive in there. So this is a setup for like a blown alcohol deal where you have the distributor out front because they don't fit in the back because the blowers are too long. But we have this crank trigger wheel here that has to sit here. And as you can see, it was going to hit. So I cut it off. And we're going to go on to the next step. We're going to get the crank trigger on, the mandrel on, the fuel pump on. Then we're going to go throw the heads on this thing. And get the intake on. And hopefully by 1 o'clock in the morning or so, we'll have the intake on, the heads on, all that stuff on. And we could nap for a few hours as the RTV sets up. And once the RTV sets up, we're going to light this baby off. That's the plan. And then 4 hours after that, we're going to go racing. Might even stop at Lucky Drag City, a small little outlaw track in Erie, Pennsylvania. If we could get 1 or 2 hits there, I'd feel a whole lot more confident going into this big race. But it's going to be tight. It's going to be real tight. And back to action.
Huh?
Browsy Wellsy, that sucks.
I got a piece of metal on my foot.
How did you screw that up?
I don't know. Forgot to put the main caps on the motor.
Huh? Yeah.
How'd you screw that up?
I ain't that though.
Yeah. Was it the 13?
13 will work.
Bro, I'm trying to...
I can't believe that shit. I feel so stupid.
Well, about 3 o'clock in the morning, after having the oil pan on and off 5 times, and then taking the main cap off a couple times to clearance it, I forgot to put the oil pump drive back on. So we were going to have no oil pressure.
Good thing you have your safety lights on.
Did it break? The bolt. I don't know where it went, but did it break?
What one are you taking out?
No, I'm taking this one out. But this is what popped. Did it just break?
What were you doing?
Taking this one out here.
You gotta take out the small one first, matey. Well, guys, it is race day at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'd call it an all-nighter, but I'm gonna go rest for an hour. I got everything just about buttoned up. I mean, there's that had to get cut off, the balancer issue, this, that, everything else. But I think everything's on par to be alright. I got to come up with something for the water pump. I'm not exactly sure. I can flip it around and kind of kink it if need be, but I'm going to try to weld up a fitting if I can't find a dash 12 male to male union. So time for some rest. Let the RTV and all the silicone dry up, and come back at it in about an hour, hour and a half, and then dot the I's, cross the T's, put in the fuel cell, try to fire this baby off.
I'll hurry up until.
Here I am running the valves, setting the valve lash after checking for valve to piston clearance. I set the valve lash at 0, put a feeler gauge underneath the between the valve and the rocker, and then rolled the motor over by hand.
Things are looking good. That's good news.
I checked it at 0 lash with the feeler gauge in it.
It's race day.
Yeah, looks like we got a racer, don't we? Not really. It's not race day, it's like freaking hours from racing. Well, we don't have the car together yet.
Ew, what the heck is that thing?
Crazy books that come out in this, right? Really? This can's pretty close to the other one.
What do you mean?
Valve lift out. That's what so. They're both on a 114 or 114 loop separation angle. The lift's about the same.
Did you guys get that piece fitted for the belt?
I loosened up the tension on the belt.
Looks good.
High drive belt. It's not supposed to have tension. I tried tweaking the bracket.
Pair.
14th pair.
Left lane.
14th pair.
Ryan Kerr. Tan Mustang, I guess.
What is that, a 50s?
No, tan Mustang, he said. Yeah, it might be them over there. He said he was pitted near us.
Which wheel do you
They say the name.
Ryan Kerr? Kerr? I don't know.
Materials off of here. So we can get our engine building materials off.
Just lift the whole blanket and...
Roll it up in that blanket. I had to check all my push rods because they got mangled. So I rolled on a piece of glass.
Beautiful.
We hired the marketing partners until we got so running. That's all right.
Well, unfortunately, I missed the mark a little bit on the tune-up. It was a new combo, and the guy that we were racing, he nailed it. He made a pretty dang good first-round pass. But we don't get any better if you don't test. So we stayed till Sunday and made a couple lids. Well, guys, I put in some more work this week, and I think we have a hot rod. We're headed down to KD Dragway in South Webster, Ohio, for the Civil War race. This Friday, big tire, and Saturday, small tire. You never know. We might be running both of them.